Elliot, welcome to the show. I'm glad to have you on.
Great to be here, Jason. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So what I like to do with all my guests, and you will be no exception, is the first question that I ask you is give everybody who's not familiar with you a little bit of an idea of your background, where you came from, and how you got to this point.
Okay, it's a big question. So I was originally a writer. That was always my goal in life. I'm in Canada, and I wanted to write, and I became a writer for politicians. I used to write speeches for politicians in the government here, and like a lot of people, I was married. I still have two daughters, and then I got divorced. It's sort of like a lot of people. I wasn't expecting it because I thought I was being a good husband and a good father, and the divorce ended, and then at first I blamed my ex-wife. I blamed her for everything. Then I came to a point of asking myself, what do I have to learn from all this? And that really set me out on a journey to see, well, what wisdom is there that I could learn so that I don't go through this again. That was really the goal. And then I wrote down things that I learned. And I put it together in a book, and that's what I'm here to talk about.
And the rest is history, right?
Right.
And the name of your book is
Being the Strong Man a Woman Wants, Timeless Wisdom on Being a Man. And it's a fascinating thing. I thought it was just me, and my friends that we had to learn these things, but the book's been translated to 24 languages around the world, in Europe, Asia, Latin America, Africa. I realized this is wisdom that men need to learn, that this generation of men weren't taught. And that was my goal, to share this with men. I coach men, I speak to groups. It really is, it's fascinating because, I tell men this, someone will say to me, oh, no one ever told me this before. How come no one ever told me this?
Right. That wasn't taught in school.
No, it wasn't taught in school, on television. You see men portrayed as buffoons. In school, most teachers are women. A lot of fathers really weren't that involved in being a role model to their children, or maybe they didn't even know these things themselves. So it's really been a fascinating journey. I think this generation of men have been told all these things about, don't be controlling. Well, nobody wants to be controlling. So they've gone to the other extreme and just think, if I let my wife make all the decisions, then I'm not being controlling and she should be happy. Why isn't she happy?
All right. Well, let's talk about this, right? So let's get into it and bring some of this stuff up. This episode is not only good for men, obviously, because, we're trying to help men understand what women want, but that's the eternal struggle, right? Men and women, Mars versus Venus, that type of thing. It's also helpful for women to understand how men are thinking, right?
Right.
And to help maybe communicate better in their relationships. So that's why I like talking about this. And then, like I said, off the air right before we got on, it's a little bit more of a lighthearted topic than what we usually talk about on the show. And we got to make room for that and have some fun. So that's what we're going to do today. So let's talk about the mistakes that men make thinking that they are doing and giving women what they want.
Right. So
what's the top one?
That's the top one. Well, the interesting thing is, I have my list of top 5 things that men do. Thinking, where's my list gone?
Elliot, you should be prepared.
Sorry, it should be right here. I don't know. Here it is.
I'll play some elevator music. Okay, here we go.
Okay, no, here it is. The top 5 things. First thing is not being a man with a plan. So this could be even when you ask a woman out on a date. A man asks a woman out, he says, would you like to go out Saturday night? And she says, yes. What do you have in mind? Oh, I don't know. What do you want to do? Big strike against you. She wants a man with a plan, and that it continues into marriage, a relationship marriage. She doesn't want a man who always says, whatever you want, you decide. She wants a man who has put some thought into things, who doesn't leave all these responsibilities on her. That's really what you're doing. You're dumping all the burden of these responsibilities on her. Like in your home, there's challenges, there's issues you have to deal with. And a man says, oh, here, my wife is in charge of the home. She'll deal with it. And she feels he's just left everything on me. So he's not showing his share of leadership. If she asks him to help with a decision, he says, oh, whatever you want, you decide. They hate it. It makes them feel that the man is a child and she is his mother, and she does not want to be his mother.
No, wait, nobody wants that. Nobody wants to be their mother. And as men, we don't want another mother, right?
No, but that's what we think. We think, well, I'll just do whatever she says and she should be happy. No, she feels like he's a child and she does not want to be intimate with a child.
So from the male perspective, though, the men that are doing this, and I have to say, I've been guilty of this from time to time, saying whatever you want. We're thinking we're being extra generous because we're letting them decide instead of us coming up with something that they might not like and then thinking, well, he never gives me a chance to decide anything, right? It's a competing viewpoint there.
Right. That's what men think. But really, it's okay if you come up with something and she says, well, no, I think maybe we should do this instead. That's good. But if you always just say, whatever you want, you decide, you're putting all this responsibility on her.
Right.
And she doesn't like it.
No, that makes total sense. That makes total sense.
I've had women say to me, and the men I coach have said to me that women that they've gone with have said this to them, that when a man takes charge and makes a decision and makes a plan, it makes her feel safe and protected. That's what they want. That's what they want. It's like nobody taught men of this generation that, but as long as you make a good decision, and if she doesn't agree with you, she'll tell you. But she likes when the man makes a decision. If you're going out for a cup of coffee, she doesn't, and you say, hey, I thought we should go to this place. They have great coffee and great dessert. Oh, this man has put some effort into it. He's been thinking. It makes her feel special. It makes her feel safe and protected.
Absolutely. Have a plan, fellas.
Okay.
Right. Okay. What's next?
Number 2, expecting her to split the bill on the first date. Oh, I've had.
Well, isn't that like a no-brainer? I mean, I thought we were past that.
A no-brainer in what way? That it's okay? Don't do it. Just pay.
No, right. I mean, I thought it was like, no, the man should, right, be a little chivalrous, and it's a first date, for God's sake.
Jason, you know the answer. Believe me, a lot of men think, they don't realize sometimes a woman will offer to split the bill or even to pay the whole bill, and he doesn't realize. He thinks, oh, is that nice? He doesn't realize that she's testing him to see if he's going to insist on paying the bill. I was once talking to this very attractive woman who told me she went out with this guy, and they went out for dinner, and the bill came, and she offered to put her credit card on it, and he accepted, and he can't understand why she won't go out with him again.
Well,
pay the bill. Be a man. Pay the bill, especially on the first date. It makes her feel special. That's the whole thing. It's not about the amount of money. You could be going out for a cup of tea. Pay for it. It makes her feel special, and she wants to be with a man who makes her feel special.
And of course, that is a traditional. I'll say in my air quotes, old time way to go on a date, right? But these days I can't even keep up with the new rules and things. So what if you have a very I guess I'll use the word contemporary type of person. In this case, we'll stick with the man-woman combo, and the check comes and the man says, reaches for the bill as if he's going to pay, and then she says, no, I got it, and then he says, no, I have it, and then she kind of is more insistent because she wants to be treated equally, or she doesn't feel like she needs somebody to pay for her, whatever it may be. At what point, as the man, do you say, all right, if she really wants to like split the bill or do or pay for it herself, at what point does a man relinquish and say, I'm trying to make this work here?
It's a great question, Jason. And as a matter of fact, I was interviewed in the Wall Street Journal exactly on this question. I told this story about this girl I went out with many, many years ago. We went to a movie. We got to the ticket booth. She took out her wallet. I took out my wallet and bought 2 tickets. Then she wants to pay for her ticket. I said, no, it's okay. And she said, no, she wants to pay for hers. So I said, no, really, it's okay. It's my pleasure. So she went back to the ticket seller and got exact change and thrust the money on me. So after that, I just let her pay for herself because she was so insistent. Then after a while, she says to me, you never pay for me.
You can't win, can you?
You said, but you were so insistent the first time. She says, well, you could have tried again. So the answer is, yeah, there you go. And the interesting thing was, there were comments in the Wall Street Journal that said, Mr. Cat should have just dumped her after the first date. Anyway, the answer is just pay for it, and just say no. I want to pay for it. It makes me feel better. It makes me feel good to pay for it. Please don't deprive me of this pleasure.
Right. Right. Damn it, let me pay. I mean, if it was always so hard, to try to I guess be chivalrous in a dating situation. But yeah, no, I've been in situations like that myself, where you almost get into a real tug of war match about who's going to pay, and you're like, this isn't the way it should work.
Yeah, no, just pay. Often they'll offer to pay for themselves, or they even offer to pay the whole thing, because they're really testing you to see if you're going to insist on paying. That happens all the time. They're testing you. Women test men to see how they're going to handle certain situations, and that's one of them. Just pay for it. Just say, it's my pleasure. Don't deprive me of this pleasure, please.
If you really like me, please just let me do this. If there's any shot of this going well, I need this.
That's right. That's right. No, you know what? It's really not the amount of money. This is what I found, and talking to other men too. It's really, it makes them feel special. Like, if you pay for her, it makes her feel special. Like, going out with you is special, and it gives me pleasure to pay for you. And I want them to feel special. Really, that's really the main thing. She wants to feel, does this person make me feel special? It's not about the amount of money that he's spending on me. It's that he's taken the time, like I said, plan the date. He's thought about what something we'd both enjoy doing. He's paid for it. It makes her feel like makes her feel special. It's not about equality. I tell men, if you want to show you believe in gender equality, there are other ways. It's not by splitting the bill.
No, but sometimes the woman in this case would, is just so insistent, because in their mind, that's empowering for them to split the bill, or even pay for the man sometimes. So I've this is a long time ago when I was in the dating pool, but I remember some success in, if you were with somebody who really was sensitive to not having you pay for them all the time, and there are people like that, then one of the tactics or techniques that I found kind of worked well was saying, all right, let me pay for this, and if it's really that important to you, if we go out for drinks or do something else, you can get that one, and give them the option then, and then see if they remember or not.
Well, I think sometimes, if you're going out with a woman for a period of time, if she wants every couple of days, if she says, here, let me pay this time, that's a nice thing. I let them pay, because it shows they want to show they're not just takers. They're not just taking from their givers also, which is a very nice thing. I mean, there's other ways to show that they're givers. If you're a single guy, I'm sure you enjoy having a home cooked meal. She can say, hey, come over to my place, let me cook supper for you. That's a nice way to show that she's a giver as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a give and take relationship, but we're talking about first date type stuff.
Yeah, so, first dates. Yeah,
right. That's a mistake. No man should really make. All right. What else? What are other things men do that they think they're doing to make them happy, but they're not?
But makes women fed up with the number 3. Always saying whatever you want, you decide. So we talked about that.
Don't ever say that. Make a decision. Have a plan.
That's right. If she asks you, like, let's say she's making supper for you. She says, what would you like for supper? Chicken or fish? And says, oh, whatever you want, you decide. She hates it because she's asking you because she wants you to make a decision. And when you make a decision, it shows that you care. When you don't make a decision, she feels you don't care. And she's asking you because she wants you to make a decision. It actually makes her feel good that you make a decision. The woman I'm with now, she loves it when I make a decision. She says it makes her feel safe and protected. Make decisions, really. And even if you look on the dictionary, one of the definitions of the word manly is being decisive. Be decisive, make a decision. And not only that, so that I'm guilty of this. I was, whatever you want, you decide. I'm being the nicest guy in the world. And you don't realize that when you suddenly have to make all the decisions, it's hard work. It's hard. No, it's hard work. So if you're leaving all this hard work on the woman, she resents it because you're shirking your responsibilities. That's how she sees it. Make decisions. You see a situation, talking about leadership, like when you see a situation, don't just say, here, you handle it, and you think you're being so nice. It's hard work. Solve the problem. You have to figure out something needs to be solved. You got to figure out how to solve it. It's hard work, and you're just dumping it all on her, and she resents it. And you think, I'm the nicest guy. And
Like
you
you're
can't
just trying to take the
understand.
easy way out.
That's right. That's right. But
But
we justify it by saying, I'm being so nice.
But I'm guilty of that. I gotta say, I'm guilty of that. My wife asks me all the time, "What do you want for dinner?" And I'm like, "Whatever you want. I don't care." And I
Yeah,
really
well,
don't care. But
well, that's what it is. That's exactly what it's got. A lot of time, it doesn't matter. It's not an important decision to us, but it's important to her that you make a decision. So since it's not an important decision, it's easy. If she says Jason, you want chicken, fish, lasagna? Just choose one. It's easy.
I
If
don't
it doesn't
care.
matter, you'll see, Jason. Just do it. Things will be better.
I'm gonna try that tonight.
Okay.
No, that makes perfect sense though, because right, you're putting the burden back on them, and after a while, if they're doing that all the time, I totally get it. It's like, come on, I'm sick of, it takes a lot of mental effort to make decisions on everything, and trying to make everybody happy all the time. So that does make perfect sense. That's a big one, I think. Okay, I'm in the
Number
dog. I,
four.
I feel like I'm in the doghouse already. Now, what's next?
Number four, when she always has to tell him what to do. So that's a similar thing. You may think you're being a good guy, but just saying, "Here, just tell me what to do. I'll do it." I've had women say this to me that she'll say to men, "I want you to do more," and he says, "Okay, well, just tell me what you want me to do. I'll do it." And he just doesn't get it. It's not about waiting for her to tell him what to do. It's about, like we were saying, it's the emotional labor of thinking and planning and organizing what needs to be done. That's a lot of work, and she resents that you leave that all on her. And once you start taking that on, you realize it is a lot of work. It's not so easy. It
Yeah,
was so
right.
much easier. When I was married, I would come home and just do whatever my wife told me to do. Whatever it is, wash the dishes, give the kids baths, change their diapers. And she would complain, I don't do enough. I said, well, what are you talking about? I'm doing so much. It's because it's not just waiting for her to tell you what to do. Be aware of what's going on in your home, in your family.
Be
You
proactive.
see, and you take initiative. Say, I see this situation. I'll handle it, and handle it. She'll love you for it.
Clean the bathroom yourself. Don't wait.
Well, no, it's not about doing housework. It's not about the amount of work you do. Yes, it is, especially when you got little kids, it's a lot of work. But it's not, it's about, don't wait for her to tell you what to do. Just, you see a situation, whatever it is, just say, hey, I'll handle it. I see that situation. I'll handle. I see we have mice in the basement. I'll handle it. I'll get some mouse traps. I'll get it all taken care of. You don't have to wait for her to tell you what to do. She'll love you. Just do it.
That's right. No, that's an excellent point. And because, oftentimes men will say, right, I'm available. I'm ready to help. Just tell me what you want to do. And like, you have to hold up a sign in big, capital letters, telling them what you need to do. And I'm like, yeah, just give me a sign. I'll follow whatever the directions are. But that's not it. What you're saying is she shouldn't have to give you a sign, but you should be have the awareness to kind of understand your environment and what she needs.
Exactly. Okay, number 5. Oh yes, not
Big one.
standing up. Yeah, it is. Not standing up to her when she treats him badly. Yeah. Oh yes, this is important. This is, he may think he's being a good guy when she puts him down or makes fun of him in front of his friends or her family. But this is like a slippery slope. If you don't demand respect, if you don't make it clear that this is not acceptable behavior, you're a slippery slope. Because where there was a study that said what's a sign of you're headed toward divorce is one person has contempt for the other person. So if you allow this to go on, you're a slippery slope heading straight for divorce. And it's not just that. And it's like she also, it's almost like she's testing you. This is another test. She's testing you because she wants to see if you're going to stand up to her. Because if you can stand up to her, you can stand up for her. If you won't stand up to her, you won't be able to stand up for her. And she wants to feel that you can, stand up for her and defend her and protect her. It gets back to by feeling safe and protected. You have to show her that you're a strong enough man to stand up and protect her. And if she's testing you by dumping on you or saying negative things, and you say, I mean, I've seen guys like this. their wife makes fun of them in front of all these people. I just laugh it off. You're headed for you're headed for divorce.
Yeah,
Stand up to her, so you will stand up for her.
but it's like you said, that's a slippery slope situation, because depending on how you stand up to her, right, that could also have an adverse effect. So it's one of those things, you have to do it tactfully, right? You have to have self-respect for yourself and for your partner, of course. And then I always wonder if a relationship is like that, where you have one person, it could be, it doesn't matter who treats the other like that, insulting them in public in front of friends and family without regard for their feelings or being sensitive to the situation, right? What does that say about how the relationship is from their point of view too? Is it, I think that scenario can be complicated and has to be addressed with some tact. What do you think?
Well, absolutely, address with some tact, but I think the important thing is, try to put an end to it as soon as it starts. If she's testing you and says something insulting or makes fun of you, you got to say, hey, I'm not going to be spoken to that way. I remember I said to one woman, I said, no, I'm really old fashioned. I think men and women should speak respectfully to each other. And I'm not willing to accept being spoken to that way. And I'm sorry. And she never did it again, because like I was standing my ground. Like I'm not going to accept it. And if you accept it, she has no respect for you, because you're not going to be strong enough to protect her.
Right. And that in and of itself is a sign of a not healthy relationship. Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So yeah, that's a red flag. If that is going on, then that's a red flag in and of itself that you have to address.
Well, I think, my advice to guys is, like, if you're not married, then you'd probably time to end it. But if you are, then you've got to fix it, because
right.
If you can fix it, do everything you can to fix it rather than get divorced. It's a wiser approach.
No, absolutely. You don't, I never encouraged, even when I was a practicing divorce attorney, I never encouraged people to rush to file for divorce. I always explored, have you been to counseling? Have you exhausted all your options? Because going through a divorce is not fun. It's not cheap. And, if there's any chance at saving what once, I'm assuming, was there, if two people got married, right? I don't know anybody who gets married hoping to get divorced, but so if you can somehow rekindle that or find your way back to what that was that drew you to each other at the beginning, then you owe it to each other to try that.
Absolutely. And then if you do get divorced, or I mean, if you're still in a marriage, that's really why I wrote that book, Being the Strong Man a Woman Wants, is because a lot of men don't realize. You see, men, I think women are always interested in relationships. They're always reading about relationships. They always want to learn more. But men just sort of think, well, things are okay. It's only when they get slapped with, like, their wife says, I want to divorce you, or, serve the divorce period, suddenly realizes, hey, what did I do wrong? I've got to fix things. I've got to fix myself. I mean, after the period of blaming. So that's really what my book is about. It's like all the lessons I learned about how to be the kind of man a woman wants, who shows leadership. That's what we talked about. She makes decisions, takes responsibility. Worst thing you can do is, you go along with your wife, and then if it turns out wrong, you blame her. It's like, don't blame your wife. Take full responsibility for what's going on in your relationship and your family. If you see a problem, don't blame her. Fix it. Take step forward and deal with it. So talking about leadership and dealing with problems. Step forward. Don't just wait for your wife to tell you. She doesn't need you just to be like a mother's helper. She wants
Right.
you to be the man of the family, and that's really the message of my book, is like, be a man, be those traditional manly traits of, be decisive, be a protector of your family. Step forward and don't be so weak and
Don't be so
really
passive, right?
passive. That's the word.
That's the word. So I think that's a great way to end this conversation, because our time is up. But I was going to ask you, frankly, what would be your number one message to men on how to make women happy? And I think we just kind of said it, is don't be so passive. I mean,
well, don't be passive, but then what is the positive action? Like, you stop being the negative action of passive. What is the positive action? Show leadership, show your share of leadership, make decisions, and take responsibility. That's what she's looking for you, for in a man.
That's great. That's great. Now, where can people find the book and learn more about you?
Okay, the book's available in paperback and ebook and an audiobook on Amazon. And that's the best place to get it. And if they want to learn more about me or get on my email list, because I write articles, I could send it to them. It's www.elliottKatz.com, ELLIOTT, that's two T's, KATZ.com. And if they want to contact me with questions, I'm happy to answer and discuss anything they want with them.
Great, great. And again, the name of the book for people who want to look it up, and I encourage that you do, both men and women. It's Five Things Men Do. Oh, go ahead.
No, it's Being the Strong Man a Woman Wants, Timeless Wisdom on Being a Man.
Excellent.
There it is.
There it is. Elliot, thank you so much for joining me. I thought
Okay.
our conversation was great, and hopefully it'll help some men out there and women too.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jason. Great being here.